10 Canadian towns practically giving away land right now. There is a number circulating in Canadian real estate databases that the attention economy has not yet decided what to do with. It is a median home price. It is not a promotional figure, and it is not a subsidized number dressed up as a market rate. It is what a house costs in a town that Canada built, populated, and then declined to pay attention to. The number is low. In some cases, it is breathtakingly low. In a few cases, it is less than the cost of a year of tuition at a Canadian university, which is a comparison that says something about both the tuition and the town. Canada has been having the housing affordability conversation for 4 years. This is not that conversation. This is the conversation happening in the 11% of Canadian geography that the affordability crisis forgot. 10 towns, 4 provinces, prices that range from $63,000 to $151,000 for a detached home with actual square footage in a community with actual infrastructure. And in several of these cases, a municipal government that is not just lowering the price, but actively running programs to attach land to people who commit to living there. The operative word is commit. This list is about what the commitment costs and what it buys, and those are not the same number. We start at number 10. Number 10. Flin Flon, Manitoba/Saskatchewan. Flin Flon is the only city in Canada that sits across a provincial border in a way that is not symbolic. Part of it is in Manitoba, part of it is in Saskatchewan. The hospital is on one side, the grocery store is on the other. The border runs through a town of approximately 5,000 people in a manner that required both provincial governments to agree on a formal arrangement in 1952, described since then in the driest possible bureaucratic language as the agreement, which is perfect. Median home price in Flin Flon in 2026 is hovering around $63,000. That number includes a yard, often a garage, occasionally a second bathroom. The mine that built the city, the Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting Complex, now operating under Hudbay Minerals, has been running in various configurations since 1927. That is not a decommissioning notice. It is a continuity record. The economy is single industry in a way that the town does not pretend otherwise. When the mine is healthy, the town is healthy. When the mine contracts, the town contracts with it. The price reflects that honesty. The market has not punished Flin Flon for transparency. It has priced it. The infrastructure is real. There is a hospital. There is a college. There are 2 grocery stores and a curling rink, and a school system that serves families the way school systems in towns built around industry were always designed to serve them, with continuity and without performance. The distance to Winnipeg is 760 kilometers on a 2-lane highway through boreal forest that is beautiful for the first hour and functional for the remaining 8. Picture this. It is February, and you are standing on the shore of Ross Lake at 7 in the morning. The temperature is -22. The lake surface is flat and white, and the silence is the kind that people who have grown up in cities cannot accurately imagine until they are standing inside it. Your mortgage payment last month was $412. Then the conversation at the coffee shop shifts, as it does every 6 months or so, to the contract negotiation at the mine, and you realize that the silence and the mortgage and the negotiation are expressions of the same single fact. Number 9. Hearst, Ontario. Hearst is 3 hours north of Timmins on Highway 11. That sentence tells you most of what the market knows about Hearst, which is precisely why the price is what it is. This is a French-language community in northern Ontario with a population that has been declining since the 1990s, and a municipal government that has responded with unusual directness. They have run programs offering subsidized land and reduced development fees to families and remote workers who commit to residency. The commitment is documented and enforced. You do not get the subsidized land and decide later. The municipality wants residents, not speculators, and the paperwork says so in terms that do not require interpretation. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $71,000, and land parcels under the program have transferred at considerably less than that. The town is built along the Mattawishquia River and surrounded by boreal forest that the timber industry has been harvesting in various forms since the early 20th century. The forestry economy still operates. There is a hospital. There is a campus of Northern College. There is a hockey arena that functions as the social center of the community, in the specific way hockey arenas in Northern Ontario have always functioned, which is seriously. The bilingualism is functional, not decorative. If you are raising children who need genuine French language immersion, Hearst provides it in a form that no urban language program can replicate, because it is not a program. It is the ambient language of every interaction you will have for years. That is either the point or the catch, depending entirely on your starting language. The catch, after the distance, is timeline. The programs are real, but the municipality is working with contractors who operate on Northern Ontario timelines, which are generous by any standard outside the construction industry. You are not buying a finished product. You are buying into a process. Those are different purchases, and they suit different people. Picture this. It is July and you are at the Saturday market, and someone is selling whitefish out of a cooler at 6 in the morning. Your property is 4 acres, with a creek through the back corner. You paid $44,000 for it 14 months ago, including the development fees. You are building. The foundation took longer than the contractor said it would. Then your neighbor says something in French, and you understand most of it, and you realize you have been here long enough that some of it has gone in. Number 8. Esterhazy, Saskatchewan. Esterhazy sits in the southeastern corner of Saskatchewan above the largest potash deposit in the world. That geological fact has not made the town rich in the way that oil money made parts of Alberta rich. It has made it stable in the way that consistent industrial employment makes a small town stable, which is different, less glamorous, and considerably more durable. The nutrient operations nearby have been running in various forms since the 1960s, and they are still running. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $82,000. For that number, you get a 3-bedroom house with a basement and a yard that would be described as a small estate in any major Canadian city, and described in Esterhazy as a standard lot. The pitch is consistency. Esterhazy is not a town waiting for its economy to arrive. The economy has been there for 60 years. It is not exciting. It is present. The schools are functional. Healthcare exists. The municipality's services are those of a community that has not experienced the kind of boom that precedes a bust, which means the infrastructure was sized for the population it actually has, rather than the population it once hoped to attract. The catch is predictability in both directions. The landscape is flat agricultural prairie, and the visual field does not vary in a way that rewards people who need their surroundings to change. The winters are long and cold in the specific way that prairie winters are cold, which is settled cold rather than dramatic cold. The social fabric is dense and established in a way that takes years rather than months to genuinely enter. The mine employs a significant portion of the adult population, and its contract decisions shape the character of the town in ways that are not always visible until they arrive. Picture this. It is late September. The canola stubble is gold, and the sky is doing what prairie skies do in September, which has become a painting that people from cities photograph and post and caption with words that do not reach it. Your mortgage is $540 per month. Your annual property tax is less than what you paid for parking in the last city you lived in. Then the conversation at the hardware store turns to Nutrien's production review for next quarter. The stubble is still gold. The review is still happening. Number 7. Mackenzie. British Columbia Mackenzie was purpose-built. In 1965, the provincial government and a forestry consortium carved a town out of northern BC wilderness to service mills that were going to harvest timber for as long as anyone could see. The horizon turned out to be approximately 30 years. The mills contracted in the 1990s. The population dropped from 12,000 at its peak to under 4,000 today. The infrastructure, the roads, the recreation center, the hospital, the schools, was designed for the larger version of the town, which means Mackenzie currently has more public amenity per capita than almost any community in British Columbia. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $78,000. In a province where secondary market detached homes routinely exceed $700,000, this number requires a careful second reading. The pitch is northern British Columbia itself. Williston Lake, the reservoir created by the Wack-Bennett Dam, is visible from town. It is the largest reservoir in British Columbia. The outdoor access from Mackenzie is not a feature that supplements the value proposition. For the right person, it is the value proposition, and the right person has to be specific about what they mean by right. The catch is remote in a way that is honest about what remote means in practice. Mackenzie is 4 hours north of Prince George on a serviceable highway. Healthcare serves the current population without surplus capacity. The forestry economy has not recovered to its former scale, and the municipal budget reflects that honestly. Efforts to attract remote workers and small business are producing early results. Early results is a phrase that has a specific meaning, and that meaning is not yet. Picture this. It is June, and you are on the lake at 6 in the evening. The water is the shade of blue that glacial-fed northern BC water produces, which is the kind of blue that people photograph and then complain that the photograph didn't capture. The mountains behind town are capped in snow even in June. Your mortgage is $490 per month. Then your satellite connection cuts out, as it does periodically, and your afternoon meeting has already continued without you. The mountains are still there. The meeting has moved on. Number 6. Elliott Lake, Ontario. Elliott Lake has been reinventing itself for 30 years, and the reinvention has been more successful than the skeptics predicted and less complete than the advocates announced. The town was built in the 1950s to mine uranium for Cold War programs. The mines closed between 1990 and 1996. Rather than emptying, which is what towns built around single-industry mining tend to do, Elliott Lake repositioned as a retirement destination. The repositioning worked, partially. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $112,000. That is the highest number in this section of the list for a specific reason. Partial success still costs more than complete failure, and the market has priced the difference with accuracy. The pitch is services relative to cost. Elliott Lake has a hospital. It has a retirement campus designed specifically for the function it serves. It has grocery stores, pharmacies, and a recreation infrastructure that was built for a specific demographic and functions as built. The town is on the north shore of Lake Huron. That is not an incidental detail. Huron Shore Golf Course is within the municipality. The relationship between the price and the services here is better than the price alone suggests, and that gap is where the value lives. The catch is demographics. The success of the retirement repositioning means the population skews significantly older, and that skew affects everything from the energy of local commerce to the social texture available to younger residents. The town has been actively pursuing young families and remote workers in recent years. The effort is visible in the municipal communication strategy. The results are early, and the term early deserves the weight it carries. Picture this. It is October, and you are on the Horn Lake Trail. The maples are doing what Northern Ontario maples do in October. The lake appears through the trees, and the light is bronze, and the whole scene looks like a Group of 7 painting that has not yet been titled. Your mortgage is $680 per month. Then you stop at the coffee shop downtown and count the people in it. 8 people. 6 of them are over 70. That is not a problem. Whether it is a problem depends entirely on the version of community you came here to find. Number 5. Carberry, Manitoba. Carberry is 53 kilometers east of Brandon on the Trans-Canada Highway, which sounds like a logistical footnote and is actually the entire argument. The town sits at the intersection of 2 types of Manitoba geography: the agricultural plains that generate most of the province's grain economy, and Spruce Woods Provincial Park, which contains active sand dunes in the middle of the Manitoba Prairie. This fact about the sand dunes is one of those Canadian facts that people from outside Manitoba refuse to believe until they are standing in front of them and photographing them and still not quite believing them. Median home price in Carberry in 2026 is approximately $105,000. There is no land giveaway program here. There is no municipal incentive package. The price is the program. The pitch is the Brandon radius. Brandon is Manitoba's second largest city, and it has a hospital, a university, a Costco, and an employment infrastructure that serves a significant regional population. Carberry is close enough to access all of that and far enough from Brandon to not have absorbed Brandon's pricing. That gap between the service radius and the price gradient is where Carberry's value lives. The gap is not widely discussed. Gaps that are widely discussed begin to close. The catch is a question rather than a specific deficiency. Carberry is affordable because it is not Brandon. The question you have to answer before you commit is whether not Brandon is a feature or a limitation, and that answer is personal in a way that no amount of comparative research resolves. The town has not experienced the kind of discovery that accelerates pricing. It has also not experienced the kind of decline that explains the price as a warning signal. It is stable at a cost that is lower than its proximity to Brandon would suggest it should be, and that anomaly has a duration. Picture this. It is Sunday in August. You are driving back from a weekend at Spruce Woods, and you turn off the Trans-Canada into Carberry, and the main street is quiet in the way that small prairie main streets are quiet on Sunday evenings. Your house is 4 blocks from the main street. 3 bedrooms, covered porch. Your mortgage is $620 per month. You have been working remotely for 2 years, and the arrangement is permanent. Then your partner asks whether you miss the people, not the city, specifically the people, and you have to think before you answer. Number 4. Greenwood, British Columbia. Greenwood is the smallest incorporated city in Canada. Population approximately 700. The city, and it is technically a city with the legislative structure that designation implies, sits in the boundary country of southern BC, roughly 2 hours from the U.S. border at Osoyoos and equidistant from Kelowna and Trail. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $138,000. That makes Greenwood one of the most affordable incorporated cities in British Columbia by a margin that is not close and has not been commented on with enough frequency to have changed the number. The pitch is the boundary country itself, which is a part of BC that most BC residents have not visited and could not locate on a map with any confidence. It is not the wine country of the Okanagan. It is not the ski architecture of Revelstoke. It is an older, quieter, more forgotten expression of BC's mountainous interior, one that has not experienced the revision that attention performs on real estate prices. The history is here in a legible form. Greenwood was a significant copper mining center at the turn of the last century, and the architecture of that era is still standing, still occupied, still readable in the way that boom-era mining town architecture remains readable long after the boom. The catch is size and the service gap that size creates at 700 people. The school is there, a medical clinic is there, a grocery store is there, Grand Forks is 20 minutes away, and Kelowna is 2 hours, and the Kelowna distance is the relevant comparison because Kelowna contains the things that Greenwood does not contain and will not contain at this population level. The question is what you are willing to drive for, and how often you are willing to drive for it. Picture this. It is May, and you are walking the main street, and it takes 4 minutes at a comfortable pace. The mountains are visible from every intersection. A bear crossed the road outside your house 2 mornings ago, and you photographed it and went back to your desk. Your mortgage is $812 per month. The bear was not a disruption. The question is, what happens when the thing that disrupts you is not the presence of bears, but the absence of everything else? Number 3. Temiskaming, Quebec. Temiskaming sits on the Quebec side of the Ontario-Quebec border on the shore of Lake Temiskaming, which is large enough to produce its own weather patterns and deep enough to stay cold even in August. The town was built around the Domtar pulp and paper mill, which operated for most of the 20th century, and in its current form still contributes to the local economy. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $115,000. Since 2022, the municipal government has been running programs offering assistance packages to remote workers and young families who commit to residency. The programs are not widely advertised outside the region. The municipality has been deliberate about that, and the deliberateness is itself a signal worth reading. The pitch is the lake and the landscape in combination with the price and the program. People who move to Temiskaming tend to describe the experience as 2 separate discoveries, the price and then the place. The place is genuinely beautiful in a way that does not require qualification or comparison. The lake is large. The shoreline is dramatic. The boreal forest behind town runs north without interruption for a distance that is difficult to conceptualize from inside a city, and the difficulty of conceptualizing it is part of the point. The catch is language. Temiskaming is a francophone community. The services are in French. The municipal documents are in French. The social texture of the town is French in a way that is structural rather than cosmetic. If you are arriving from Anglophone Canada without functional French, the integration timeline is longer and more demanding than the program materials suggest, and the program materials are optimistic by design. The town is welcoming. Welcoming and accessible are not identical conditions, and the difference between them is measured in years. Picture this. It is September, and you are on the lake at 6 in the morning. The surface is still. The Ontario shoreline is visible 8 kilometers across the water. The light is doing something that doesn't require adjectives. Your mortgage is $690 per month, and the municipal assistance program covered 30% of your down payment. Someone on a nearby dock says something in French, and you respond, and you got it mostly right. The language is coming. Slowly is a measurement that changes meaning depending on how much time you actually have. Number 2. Muisaman, Saskatchewan. Muisaman is 30 kilometers west of the Manitoba border on the Trans-Canada Highway. That position makes it the first Saskatchewan town you encounter when driving west from Manitoba, and the last before you re-enter Manitoba when driving east. The highway has been making Moosomin's case continuously since the railway arrived in the 1880s, and the Trans-Canada has continued making it since the 1960s. Median home price in 2026 is approximately $151,000. That is the highest number on this list. The geographic positioning, the economic profile, and the growth trajectory around Moosomin together tell a story that the price has not yet fully incorporated. The pitch is trajectory and positioning. Moosomin has been growing, not dramatically, not in the way that generates features in national publications, but in the incremental, sustained way that builds community without straining infrastructure. There is a hospital, a K-12 school system, a curling club, and a recreation center. A local newspaper that has been publishing continuously since 1884, which is not a tourism fact but a stability indicator. The agricultural and oil sectors in the region generate employment across multiple employers, which is a specific distinction from the single industry profile that characterizes several earlier entries on this list. The catch is that $151,000 still buys you a small prairie town, and the things that make a small prairie town challenging are present here in the same form they are present everywhere else on this list. The social entry curve is real. The cultural density of a larger center does not exist here and is not simulated here. The trade-off is transparent. What you get for $151,000 is a house, a functional community, a hospital, and a highway that runs in both directions. What you trade is the ambient stimulation that comes with larger population density, and that trade has different values depending entirely on who is making it. Picture this. It is November, and the highway is empty to the horizon in both directions. You are at the curling rink playing third in a league that has been meeting Wednesday evenings since approximately the period when your parents were learning to read. Your mortgage is $892 per month. You are working remotely for a company in Vancouver that does not know and does not care that you are in Saskatchewan. Then someone mentions that a family from Winnipeg toured properties last week, and 2 families from Toronto have sent inquiries this month. The window is open. It is receiving more attention than it was receiving a year ago. You know what attention does to windows. Number 1, Cobalt. Ontario Cobalt is a former silver mining town in northern Ontario, 60 kilometers south of New Liskeard, that produced more silver between 1903 and 1920 than almost any other district in the recorded history of Canadian resource extraction. The silver is largely gone. What remains is the physical infrastructure of a town that was built quickly and well during a boom that ended over a century ago. Mine headframes visible from the street, shafts sunk into the Canadian Shield below the sidewalks, brick buildings from an era of confident construction, and a population of approximately 1,000 people, and a median home price in 2026 of approximately $73,000. What also remains is an arts community that the market has no efficient mechanism to price, and that this list's thesis requires saying something honest about. Cobalt has quietly accumulated artists, ceramicists, photographers, printmakers, and creative workers over the past 2 decades. They arrived for the price and the architecture and the specific quality of light that the Canadian Shield landscape produces at certain times of year and in certain weather conditions. They stayed because the combination of those 3 things produced something that does not have a name in real estate language and is therefore not reflected in the median. There are galleries on Silver Street, there are artist residencies, There is an annual event calendar that draws visitors from across the province, which is the kind of thing that happens before a place becomes expensive and stops happening after. The pitch is layered in a way that the other entries on this list are not. The price is real. The architecture is real in the way that boom-era mining town architecture is real, which is to say, it was not designed for character, but built under pressure, and the surviving structures carry the visual record of that origin in a way that designed character cannot replicate. The arts community is real, and it has established institutional presence, not aspirational presence. The catch is two things, and the first one is not a trade-off. It is a due diligence requirement. Cobalt's mining history left a contamination legacy, cobalt and arsenic in specific areas of the town, that the municipal government has been managing and disclosing with varying degrees of completeness across several decades. The contamination is not uniformly distributed. The affected areas are identified. Environmental assessment before purchase is not optional here. It is the transaction, and the only variable is whether the research gets done before or after the money moves. The second catch is that the arts community and the price are now in a relationship that the arts community did not intend to create. When creative workers move somewhere for affordability, and the resulting character of the place begins generating attention, the price responds to the attention rather than the place. Cobalt has not yet crossed the threshold where that response is visible in the median, but the features have been written in publications that reach the right readership. The videos have been watched. The inquiries are increasing. The window is open in a way that is aware of being open, which is a different condition from simply being open, and the difference between those two conditions is where the urgency actually lives. Picture this. It is March. The snow is still on the ground, but the light has shifted in the specific way that Northern Ontario light shifts in March, which is a quality change more than a quantity change. The kind of shift that tells you the season is deciding something even if the temperature has not caught up. You are in a gallery on Silver Street, looking at photographs taken 12 kilometers into the bush. The price tag on the photograph is $400, and the photographer is your neighbor. Your mortgage is $448 per month. Then you pick up a copy of a Toronto publication, and the feature piece is about hidden gems in Northern Ontario, and the first photograph in the piece is of your street. You feel two things at exactly the same time, in proportions that tell you more about who you are and what you actually came here for than any amount of research into median prices ever could. 10 towns, 4 provinces, $63,000 to $151,000 for a detached house in a community with actual infrastructure. What the list reveals when you look at it whole is not a secret. It is a taxonomy. Some of these places are cheap because the economy that built them restructured and did not return in the same form. Some are cheap because the distance is genuine and the market has priced it correctly. Some are cheap because the attention economy has not arrived yet, and the window between where the price is now and where it will be when the attention arrives is measured in years rather than decades, which sounds like a long time until you are inside it. The question is never which town is cheapest. The question is, which catch belongs to you? Distance is a catch only if your model of life requires proximity. Single industry risk is a catch only if stability matters more to you than price. Language is a catch only if you need the community to accommodate your starting point rather than the other way around. Contamination is a catch, full stop. That one is not a trade-off. It is a due diligence requirement, and the only variable is whether the research gets done. Canada has a housing affordability problem. That problem is real and structural, and it is not solved by this list. What this list contains is a different version of the same map, the places where the affordability conversation never arrived, for reasons that range from honest geographic difficulty to nothing more complicated than not yet. The market will find these towns. It finds everything eventually. The mechanism is always the same. A feature gets written, a video gets watched, an inquiry gets sent, and then several more, and then the price reflects the discovery rather than the place. The only variable is timing. The window is real. It has a duration. The duration is not indefinite.